Hey everybody, well I must say I wasn't sure I would actually have anything this week for an update because I wasn't expecting any changes. However, Microsoft has indeed released the fourth update to Sim Update 11 Beta. So we are now looking at version 1.29.30.0. The majority of this release is for the A310 TAC 300, the Airbus. The SimBrief integration has been fixed, sound improvements have been made, they've mitigated some of the crashes, the trim and the textures have been fixed. Uh, Fixed flight deck cockpit sticker not moving with door, fixed trim wheel and yoke textures. RAT is now animated in cockpit only. Fixed things like the wind direction being filled with VRB, sounds, improved sounds, interior engine audio, switch volume levels, FMC system fixes, SimBrief, FMC crashes, fixed TOD triggering, pressure system issue, DOR frequency. So, like I said, for the majority of it, this entire release of the update is to fix that Airbus, that iniBuilds A310 300. So, that being said, I'm not an Airbus pilot. I'd ever liked them, even when they work good. I don't like them. I prefer some of the older planes, the older heavies. But that being said, right now what I'm testing is to make sure that this particular release did not interfere or make any degradation to the performance that I've been getting with this sim update. So we are right now in the Magister CM170. We just took off from an airport right next to New York City, and now we are flying in and around and above New York City at a relatively high velocity. I do not have photogrammetry turned on. I do use SteamVR and virtual desktop. I do not have any Oculus software, so please don't ask me in the comments. There is no Oculus software installed on my computer. I don't use it. I don't use the AirLink. I don't use the link cable, and I don't use the Oculus software. What I use is virtual desktop on my Quest with SteamVR. And my Microsoft Flight Sim is not a SteamVR version. It doesn't really matter. You can use any version. Well, except for the Xbox, of course. But it doesn't have to be the SteamVR version to work. My buildings right now are on Ultra. My texture quality is up on Ultra. So I have a lot of things turned up high, and to me the buildings look good. I actually have a scenery add-on pack for the New York building and the landmarks. So photogrammetry is not turned on. I don't miss it. Matter of fact, I really don't like it, period. I don't like the way it looks, and it's terrible with the frame rate. So this is how I fly. If you like this is how my settings are going to be configured. I keep waiting for a final version of this silly update to be released so I can release a final version of my settings, because I do make little changes here and there. So I keep thinking it's the final release and then there's another release. But I'm going to really try and get a settings video out within the next week of all my settings, everything that I can think of that pertains to virtual reality and Microsoft Flight Sim. Now, you will notice occasionally I will get a little jittery section as passing usually from one scenery segment to another. Like in this case, I do have the add-on pack for the scenery for New York City landmarks. So once I get outside of that as I'm transitioning, there's usually a quick little stutter. But if I come back and fly through that same area, I don't get that stutter at all. I did notice that with the latest sim update, turning off the rolling cache does seem to help with some of the slight stuttering that gets seen now and again. But for me, this is pretty smooth. I find this to be a relatively smooth performance considering where I am and what I'm flying around and the speed I'm moving at. And when I'm out in the mountains with just trees and rocks and clouds and rivers, the performance is even better than this. And of course, if I was to jump up right now to an altitude of say 7,000 feet, my performance, my frame rates would be well over 60 at this point. See, there's the Times Square, so that's the add-on scenery pack. But I will continue to test, as I always do, so that if you don't want to, you don't have to. Join the beta program and go through some of the headaches that beta testers deal with. So again, I really hope there's a final sim update release at some point for us soon for sim update 11. But I will continue to test and report on my findings and my performance, and I will try once again very hard to put a settings video out on where I'm at. There is one out on my channel, one of the sim updates. If you just look for the playlist for sim update 11, you will see there are a couple that do go over several of my in-game settings and my NVIDIA control panel settings, but not everything, not all the little tweaks and changes that I've made. So, well, see you in the skies. I'll keep on testing so you don't have to, and thanks for watching, everyone.